Chasing Tales, Episode 31, The Dance.
Welcome back to another riveting episode of Chasing Tales. In this episode, we find out if Pink will go through with the plan, or will her afternoon with Sarah change her mind.
Pink and Sarah sit at the cafe drinking tea. A dozen or so boxes and bags fills the booth between them.
Thanks for getting me out of the house. I almost forgot what it felt like to be a woman on her own. My pleasure. So how is marriage treating you? Everything working out okay? It has been easier since we've been married than before. With Will's injuries, then the fire, and losing Pink and Kate. And then there was all the business. Today was the last of that sort of thing. We should all be back to work soon, and then we can really settle into a routine. So Sarah, how far along are you? Is it that obvious? Well, you did linger over the baby things a while. Only about 6 weeks. We're hoping for a little girl. Oh, that'll be nice. Let's hope she's a songbird like her mother.
Sarah smiled. Then her expression turned cloudy. Sally put her hand on hers comfortingly.
What is it? It's just that when everything was happening, I had this dream. Pink came to us and was telling us I was going to miscarry. Well, I'm sure it was just a dream. Lots of women have strange dreams while pregnant. I could dismiss it if it were just me, but Will had the exact same dream. As for both of you having the same dream, you were under a lot of stress. Having a baby was foremost on your mind, and I'm sure Will knew that too. It's probably nothing. Well, I suppose you're right.
The waiter brings the bill. Sarah puts her hand on it.
Let me get it, Sally. After all, it's the least I can do. But you're the one who did me the favor. I won't have it. You bought lunch. Now don't argue with a pregnant woman. Well, all right then. I'll go call Dexter and get him to pick us up.
Sally nods her head and stands. She leans into the waiter, handing him $1. She also drops a tea bag from the black packet onto his tray.
Hey, bring us a couple of pieces of chocolate cake to go. And would you be a dear and throw this away for me? Keep the change, handsome.
Yes, ma'am.
By the time Dexter arrives, they finish their cake. He comes to carry their packages to the car. Pink is standing at the open trunk sorting packages. She slips a glove box into another bag and puts it into Sarah's things. The ladies get in and Dex drives them to Park Street. Once they stop, Will comes up to the car and opens the door for Sarah.
You alright? Do you need any help?
With those hands, I think we can manage.
Will backs up out of her way. Sally loads Sarah's packages and bags onto Dexter, and he carries them onto the porch for her. Sarah looks over them and discovers there's an extra.
This isn't one of mine. It definitely is.
Sarah shrugs and carries them inside. She looks in the odd one. In the glove box is a carefully wrapped pair of white kidskin gloves with gold buttons. She'd always wanted a pair. How could Sally know? The rest of the bag contains a number of baby things. The baby book has something written on the frontispiece.
For all your baby's new adventures, love Aunt Sally.
Sarah shakes her head and smiles. Dexter drives off with Sally. They reach the ice house and he carries her things upstairs.
Well, I guess it'll do.
Hey, this place is nice. Well, if a little bare.
I haven't been here long enough to get settled in.
He hesitates, not knowing where to put the packages.
Right there by the door is fine, Dexter.
He gently puts them down and arranges them neatly.
All it needs is a few homey touches.
I have no doubt I'll be homey soon enough. Well, if that's everything.
Sally walks up to him and puts some money in his pocket.
Thank you for your help.
I would have done it for Pink. You can thank her.
Sally folds her hands as if praying and nods.
Amen.
Dexter opens the door and looks back.
Say, when does the club open up again? Looks like it's almost finished.
I think we'll need a little time to practice, but it shouldn't take too long.
Keep me in the loop. I'll be there to hear your first show in the new place.
Sally blushes a little and nods. He closes the door. She relaxes and sighs in relief. A portal opens behind her. She steps through. She expected Aislinn, but it was Metatron.
Oh, hello.
Walk with me, Pink.
They walk in Fountain Park, one of her favorite places. It seems extra bright and breezy today. The flowers suddenly burst into bloom. Metatron steeples her fingers trying to catch her thoughts and freezes.
Try not to kill this one.
You mean the body? So it's not indestructible.
Limits, Pink. Even outsiders have them.
I don't have enough limits normally? What are your limits, I wonder?
Metatron's face made a jovial expression out of character for her. They were laughing at her.
So what did you allow me?
You already know the answer. Look at the math. You'll figure it out.
Yes, sir.
Her shoulders drop. She stands contemplating the conversation.
But why this limit? Was Godhead ever my goal?
She hadn't given it more than a passing glance, but now?
And why speak directly to me? What was their point here? This just doesn't sit right.
The air shimmers and Metatron resumes her voice and demeanor.
What did they tell you? Why was I excluded?
Stay in my place. They just told me to stay in my place.
I would probe you more, but you have a meditation session. Remember to breathe.
With that, Metatron disappears. Pink takes a deep breath and sprints towards the meditation hall. A large red and green pagoda rises before her and swallows her in its tall cedar halls. She shuffles to a slow walk and tries to calm her breath. She quietly opens the door to the temple and realizes the group has intentionally left an empty mat in the middle of the room for her.
Silent group shaming again? Can't they think of a less passive-aggressive way to get their point across?
She moves slowly and clumsily through the mats and meditating students. She arrives at the center mat and sits. She could hear a barely stifled giggle and a cough.
Stand, Hidega.
She stands. Noid weaves through the mats effortlessly and stands at her shoulder facing her ear. She freezes, not daring to move. She sets herself to listen.
You are not special. When you realize that, your mind will clear.
Lightning fast, the bamboo strikes the back of her knees. She kneels at a reflex and hits the mat. Power rises from her, hands glowing.
And that is why you need meditation.
She succeeds in remaining calm, but only just. She sits back on the cushion. She inhales and tries to still her mind.
What was it now? Let the thoughts go by, no judgment, just the breath?
She swipes away all of her questions. There are always too many of those. Soon she hones in on the breathing. She can feel herself falling into the zone. Here, there's a sort of a swirling external noise coming at her from all directions. She focuses her mind. Out of the massive sound, she snatched out a single voice.
She'll never see it coming. We can't make it too easy for the superstar. Now can we? First we're going to.
His thoughts are cut off by the smack of the bamboo.
Darren, the boat of jealousy will carry you away from your destination.
Pink smooths her expression. She tries to reach the place she was. She allowed the sound of correction to jerk her away. The zone slipped out of her grasp. She would have to work on that. Noid is suddenly beside her.
See me when we are finished.
They sat for another hour, the zone eluding her. She rises stiffly from the long session and stretches. It's times like these she wished she wasn't required to have a body. She aches. She could definitely feel the new body blues. She knew that by the time she got to Fountain Park, she would feel better, but Dragon wanted to see her. Relief would have to wait.
Walk around the hall with me. You work better in motion, and I want you to hear my words.
Yes, Dragon.
She bows. He spreads his ornate kimono sleeves towards the door of the balcony. They turn and walk together. She gets distracted and slips a millimeter too close to him. Noid stops. He brushes his shoulders with his fingertips twice. She imperceptibly scooches backwards. He proceeds. He stops abruptly again. She stops and realizes she is supposed to open the doors. She does so and allows him to pass.
Here, guy. You may think I am hard on you because you are difficult. That is true. However, you also have the greatest potential. I want you to go further than any of us have done. I believe you can, and if you can, perhaps we can.
I wonder what that could mean.
About your lateness, as punishment you are to have nothing but diet prescribed today.
She bows. Nuit stops. She looks up and realizes they've made a full circle in that time. She opens the doors and lets him pass, her eyes down. She follows and quickly turns out the main temple doors. Pink calls out to Aislinn. He opens a portal and she strides through. In the library, Aislinn waits in a long room that smells like tobacco and bourbon. Soon he can hear the clicking of Max's lizard feet. Aislinn rises and waits for Max to speak.
Aislinn, I've been told you have some information for me to analyze.
Anything you can tell us about this would be helpful. It came from Starlight.
Across the void?
Yes, it blew one of Otto's machines. Lakisa said it had a malice mark and you should go with low tech, but it's not a mechanical issue. Max nods his head, understanding the meaning.
Where should I send it?
Aislinn holds out his crystal and Max attunes to it.
I will send you a message as soon as I know anything about its origin and how it could do what it did.
With that, Max scoots away and into the door of his office. Aislinn ports to the villa.
Will and Sarah's baby is safe to find its own way. Pink has an unexpected meeting, and training isn't going as well as planned. Will she be ready? Stay tuned for the next exciting episode of Chasing Tales. Netted.